Welcome, everyone, to Ag Tech with Andrew. I'm joined today with two wonderful people here, Greg Stewart, the CEO and co-founder of Geco Ag, and Ralph Tessman, who is the country lead for Gowan. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hey, good to
Thanks
see
for
you. Nice to see
thanks
you.
for having us.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So we're going to start with you, Ralph. Tell us a little bit about what your role is with Gowan.
So I'm the country manager for Gowan Canada, so responsible for all things Gowan in Canada, I guess. We bring solutions to farmers with a special interest in resistance management, especially in Western Canada.
Awesome, awesome. And Greg, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah. So I'm Greg Stewart, founder and CEO of Geco. And what our company does, I think we'll get into it in some detail. We do predictive control of weeds and detection of resistance. And a lot of that's through Western Canada as well.
So obviously, weed management is a key thing that we deal with every year, and how much it can impact overall yield is really can have a massive impact on profitability. Greg, you've created pretty unique system in weed management control. Can you tell us a little bit more about this predictive weed management?
Sure. Yeah, thanks. And I should say it's not me that created it. It's the Gecko team who did it. The shout out to Devin, who hopefully is watching. Yeah. So what we'll do really is we're doing targeted control of weeds, but really we think about this at the very large scale. So we look at what the weeds are doing as a population within a field, and we look to see what those weeds have been doing for the last 5 years within that field. And from there, we're able to make a prediction of where the weed patches will be next year. We're leveraging satellite data for all of this. And so we'll pull every satellite image that was taken of that field for the last 5 years, can sometimes get up into the hundreds of images. And we're pretty good about figuring out which is weeds and which is crop. From there, we'll predict where the weeds will be. And then from that prediction gets turned into a prescription that is used in multiple ways, right? So with residual herbicides, with foliar in-crop herbicides, and also more and more variable rate seeding, where people will put additional seeds down where the weeds are in order to try to remediate those patches.
Wow. So you're doing a kind of a three-tiered system here on managing weeds. Tell us a little bit about how the effectiveness is and how does that affect the bottom line for growers?
Yeah. So what people are really using this for is if they've got a problem child field and they've got weed patches that have been giving them trouble, they're wanting to, and I think Ralph will talk a little bit about this as well, right? Do a multi-stage program in order to try to remediate them, right? So to mix all of your herbicides and your non-chemical actions together to try to deplete that weed seed bank. And some of these actions can both impact, be reduce your weeds as well as increasing your yields. We just completed an experiment actually with Emily outside of Winnipeg where we changed the wheat seeding rate by about 24% and in certain areas, right? And it turns out that both decreases the weed density and increases the crop yields fairly significantly. We're still share those numbers probably within about a week or so, but we're still kind of cleaning up the analysis. So it actually has this two-pronged approach, two-pronged benefit that you get out of it, which is really exciting to see.
That's awesome. So, Ralph, obviously, this is a fairly new partnership with Geco Ag. Tell us why it was important for Gowan to get involved with Geco Ag, and how does that help your customers?
So Greg and I kind of got introduced to each other more from the business aspect of technology platforms and a little bit on my history with platforms with other organizations and gaining some experience over the last 6 or 8 years before that. I could see right away when I talked to Greg the opportunity that this could bring to the table and the fact that nobody else was really doing it. Resistant weeds especially start in specific areas and they expand out from that. The challenge that growers have is understanding exactly where that area is and then trying to attack them. We're really set up really well to spray entire fields, but sometimes we could do more in specific areas and give them a little bit more attention and get the upper hand on resistant weeds. Really important to us on a couple of aspects. When we talked about this with growers, we got their attention right away, kind of at the initial level of understanding where the really bad patches are, they were applying our products across the entire field. But when they found that they were in these bad patches, they would increase their rates to get better control on the years when they could use our products. We do have growers that have devastating populations and group 1 resistance specifically, and have really lost their ability to grow barley in some circumstances, where group 1s are one of the few things that you can use in crop in barley. And the wild oat populations are so bad that if the group 1 fails, that it will take the crop out completely. So by being able to understand where these weed patches are and attacking them every year, we hope to be able to turn that around for growers and have it so that, they're not in a situation like that again.
So it's basically you're opening up potential new acres down the road from land that you can't really get a lot of yield out right now with this. Is that fair to say?
Or they can't grow certain crops anymore. And this is evolving. It evolves every year. It's becoming a bigger and bigger problem. Today, there's a real problem in barley. Down the road, it may expand to wheat and other crops, but just allowing them to have their options open for what crops they can grow.
Oh, that's awesome. So, Greg, you talked just a little bit about some of your technology. So, what kind of information are you providing growers so they can get a good understanding of how to kind of get a visual of what's going on and then apply it to their farming operation?
Yeah, no, good question. So what we'll do, we'll take, as I said, like those hundreds of images, right? And so honestly, like if you give us one image, we can't do very much with it, right? And I think we're not alone in that. But we're able to, by stacking the time series together, get a sense of where that weed population, weed seed bank is underground. And what we'll share to people is the estimate of where that weed seed bank is, where it's capable of competing with the crop over all of those 5 years. So you'll get from 2021 all the way through 2025, a map of where weeds have appeared on the field, right? And we find that to be very helpful for understanding like where are the bad patches, but are they better or worse? And are some years look really good for weeds and other years don't, right? And it's a combination of factors like weather and crop and timing of certain activities. All that stuff kind of mixes together. So it gives you a good sense of kind of really what's been going on over those 5 years. And then a prediction for next year. It gives you an estimate of where the weeds are likely to pop in, right? And so that is really helpful for your planning. We also run a test for herbicide resistance, and that's slightly different, but we'll look usually over the last 2 years at are there any areas within that field that have been not responding well to the herbicides that have been put down, right? And it doesn't mean that you can find resistance for sure, but it does mean that you've got a 10,000 acre farm. Where are the 3 or 4 patches out there that are really showing some trouble, and you can put them onto your list for scouting, right? And with some boots on the ground, right? At least you're not scouting every square meter of 10,000 acres, right? So it gets you the high points first and the ones that you probably should be sending for lab testing.
Yeah, that's a great tool for sure, especially when you've got those really bad spots. So, Ralph, when we look at kind of the future of how Gowan sees this Geco Ag system in place, how do you integrate this into your clients, and how do you see that as a benefit?
It's really exciting, and it's exciting at different levels. Certain weeds you need to pay more attention to very quickly, like kochia. Kochia, when it starts to appear in a field in 3 years, can be a real problem. So identifying where it has entered a field, where it looks like it's going, and really be smart about it and really get after those fields and those patches specifically every single year, I think is a real benefit. Wild oats evolved more over time, but by knowing just exactly where these patches are, we can work very closely with farmers in all their crops in prescriptions on how they can go after these patches specifically. And to me, it's kind of a game changer in our ability to do that. It just allows us to be smarter, and it leads to other things beyond Gowan. There could be a soil problem. There could be a fertility problem. There could be something else that's going on in those patches that's allowing the weeds to take control.
That's fantastic, and those are things that I really hadn't thought about beyond this. So that's great information to be gathering. Greg, Is there anything that you want to kind of highlight about your system and that our audience should know about?
Yeah. So first of all, I'd second what Ralph has to say. Like a big thing when you've got, let's say, a new or spreading weed problem is to try to contain it, right? And so there's a number of people who we've met who have said, oh, I remember when I noticed weed X show up in 2022 and I didn't take it seriously enough, and now that's all I think about, right? So much easier to kind of get on top of these things before they've become really, really, really serious. But I would say maybe one thing to mention, and so a lot of people are taking our system about predicting where the weed patches will be and launching, let's say, a 3-year project, right, in order to try to, mix a few different herbicides and target and non-chemical actions like variable rate seeding over those weeding patches to try to get on top of them. And by mixing them over 3 years, it's something that you can start to take different actions against it. So that's something that's been, we had our customers were interested in doing that. And so we've just launched a version of a subscription that you can get for a 3-year period, which is cheaper than Geco's traditional one-off price. And so that's something that we've announced along with Gowan, right? And so when you do the 3-year subscription with Geco, you'll get these your maps of the field for $2.50 an acre. But when you come through Gowan, you will get, if you get 2 fields with us with Geco, you'll get a third one for free by going through Gowan. So it's an interesting promotion that we're working up through this coming winter.
Yeah, that's a great incentive that Gowan is offering. Ralph, you're muted right now, so I'll get you to jump off there. So tell us a little bit about. I mean, obviously, this is a great incentive that you're offering with Gowan. Anything else that you want to be sharing with our audience with Gowan, with Geco Ag, or anything for agriculture for 2026?
I guess I would jump in and share that this allows us to work with growers in a different way. In a lot of cases, these growers are already using our products. It's allowing them to use them smarter. It's maybe allowing them to use other companies' products at different times over different years, layering on top of our products or other products. But it's really about helping farmers get control of these resistant weed situations that they have. In some cases where, like Greg said, that's all they talk about because they got away on them. And it's just helping us get growers back in control again. And in other cases, not letting it get out of control. So that's what we're excited about. And like I said at the beginning, we could see that right away as an opportunity that this technology could bring.
That's excellent. Thank you very much. Well, I think that's about all I have for questions for you. So I want to thank you, Ralph and Greg, for joining me today. And looking forward to seeing you guys down the road and seeing how the system integrates into the 2026 season. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.